Hello and welcome along to the channel, and the first thing to say is this isn't my usual videos. Normally on this channel you get car videos, but I'm branching out and we're going for a few new series, and this one is going to be electronics and home automation. So I hope you're going to like these. I'm going to tag all of these differently in the title and the description, so if you don't want these videos, just skip this part of the series. But if you're interested, stick around. If this gets popular, it might branch off into another channel. I did try that idea, didn't really get much movement on it, but let's see how this goes. This time we're looking at Zigbee Home Automation, and specifically I'm going to be putting a Zigbee controlled light on the outside of my house. And this is going to tie in with the rest of a series that I'm going to be doing on Zigbee home automation stuff. So stick around and I'll show you what I'm all about. This video is going to be a little bit out of sequence. I'm not going to explain what Zigbee is in this, but there will be a future video that is going to explain it. So don't panic if this doesn't make sense. If it does, and you know what Zigbee is, then you'll know what I'm doing, and it's to do with home automation. And the first thing is I need to put a new light on the outside of my house, and I thought rather than a motion sensing light, I would rather the house number and the outside front door is lit up all the time. So I thought, how cheap can I do this? Looked at a few options. You can buy controllable bulbs. So these are what are these called, GU10 bulbs. Now you can buy Zigbee controllable bulbs, but they're quite expensive. They can be £20–30 each, and if they pop, then it's another £20–30. And longevity of LED bulbs aren't really what they told us, will they? So I prefer to go for cheap LED bulbs and a Zigbee little controller. So this one is the Sonoff controller that I've gone for. Again, cheapest I could find. I'm going to put the costs and things down the bottom and probably put them on screen as well. In fact, I'll do that now. So this light, it's just a regular up-down light. Actually, I'll show you the light itself. It's nice. It's metal. It's got a waterproof rating on it. It's stainless steel, and it's got one bulb in the top, one bulb in the bottom. Didn't come with bulbs. That's why I bought that cheap pack of 6 GU10 bulbs. So they're in there. So there's that, and there's our Sonoff Zigbee little controller switch. And the idea is that I'm going to set to come on and off at dusk and dawn, or whenever I need it to, and control this. So this will get a permanent feed, and this will do the switching on and off. That's the idea. Now the first problem you've got is, where is that going to hide? It's very small, but it's not small enough, believe it or not, to fit into the back box of here. I've already tried this, and unfortunately, because of the fixings inside it, it's not going to fit in there. And that's one of the first problems you have with home automation, actually, which is you tend to need extra bits like this. And where do you hide them? Now hopefully this is going to fit in the switch back box, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. Typically fitting this inside existing sockets or light switches at the back will be our aim, because unfortunately I did actually hope I was going to be able to hide it in here. I might have been able to hide it in this section, but I thought actually the silver, the stainless steel, will block the signal for the Zigbee, and that might not work very well. So I think maybe this being on the inside of the switch is going to help things out. So I've put the bulbs in already, you've seen that. In the back of here we've only got 3 wires, very simple, live, neutral and earth. Now into our sun off, what have we got? We have got neutral, neutral, so that's in, and then we've got live in, live out, and you've also got switches as well, so you can send switches to this for manual control if you want. We're not going to use that, so all we're going to do is we're going to feed this with live and neutral, and then the output to this, live and neutral. Very well, but something to mention is this requires live and neutral, so this would not really be suitable behind a regular light switch to control a light, because a light switch only has live coming to it typically. So, and this needs power, this needs a neutral to gain power. So if I was going to do that, I wouldn't be putting this into the switch, the wall switch. I would be putting this up in the ceiling rows, which is where you've got live and neutral that would feed the bulb. Now that's a little bit fiddly. I have done that around the house, so I might show you that, but that's a future one. Let's go and figure out where we're going to fit this. And the first thing I'm going to say is this is all done at your own risk. Obviously electrical work, if you're not confident with it, do not attempt it. Don't even think about it. Get an electrician in to do any of this work if you're unsure or you don't feel like this is within your capability to do. So with that being said, first thing to do is to cut the power off to these lights. Now you can see my distribution board here thankfully is all labelled up, and downstairs lighting is the one that we want. Now what I always do is I turn the lights on, or the appliance on, and then make sure when I cut the power the light goes off. This is the light in question, see on the front of the house. Now this normally has our house number on. You can see I use this little solar LED, but honestly they're rubbish. They really are absolutely abysmal. They don't work very well, they don't last long. So we're going to change this out for an up down that's going to give us a bit of illumination and light up the house number. So the first thing to do is to get this old one off. You can see it's also rusty and horrible. Hasn't survived very well at all. I'm hoping the replacement is going to last a bit better than this one. Although being said, I think it's had about 10 years. So is that good or not? I don't really know. Next thing to do is to actually check with my multimeter to make sure that that is not live, just to double check that we have isolated everything. So I'm going to set my multimeter to mains AC voltage and check that I don't get anything on the brown and blue wires. Very difficult to do while balancing, but you can see we're on AC, got no voltage, and we're on the 2 pins, so I'm now happy to touch that. Let's get that undone and have a look and see how the new light might fit. Looks like it's a fairly similar fitting, so I reckon we just undo that and swap it. Got the new fitting on. Before I do anything else, I'm going to turn the power on and check that it works before we do any of the Zigbee or the control side of things, just to make sure that it's actually working. Success. So at least that works. Then we can move into the switch and sort it out. So I'm going to put all of this back together. I have to turn the power back off, obviously. So what we're going to do is, you can see here neutral is bridged, and that is because the wire for the outside light goes back out this box. So that's sending neutral out to our outside light, which is great. So we've got our neutral feed there. Then the live is switched to this left hand side switch. Live comes in at the top, is switched and comes out the bottom to feed through to our light switch. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the sun off in there. So where the switch takes the power out the bottom and sends it to the light, we're going to switch that through our sun off. So on the sun off, what I've done is I've attached this little pigtail wire which is going to supply the sun off with power. And then live in is going to come from the bottom of the switch, and then what the wire that did go into that is going to go to our live out, and that's the one that supplies our outside light. You can see you need a really small flat screwdriver to work on these terminals, so that's something to be aware of. After connecting the power back up, just to make sure that it's all working, I can now pair it with Zigbee and Home Assistant. So I'm going to go through the pairing wizard, which should allow the unit to connect and then allow us to control it remotely. And once it's done that, I'll turn the power back off again, put the cover on the switch so that it's all covered over and safe. Outside, the light's not on, which is what you'd expect. But what I should now be able to do is go to the app, switch it on, yep, and the light has come on. And you can see the light's on, light's off. And that's doing exactly what we want. And it's controlled by Zigbee, which means that from my Home Assistant, I can now write apps to control it, which is what we want. Well, there you go. That is the cheapest way that I found of making a smart light on the outside of your house using one of these Zigbee Sonoff controllers. I'll put all the information, all the Amazon links in the description below in case you want to do the same thing, or if you want to compare to how you would do it. I'd love to hear from you. Pop a comment down the bottom. Let me know where you would have done things differently, if you would have done things differently, all that kind of good stuff. That'd be really interesting to know. And I hope you like this new series of videos that I'm going for. If you do, give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out, and I'll see you in the next video.